Well, good morning to you all. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor. We are back here with the Rumour Mill, everybody. It is January, and you know what that means. Make sure you're dialed in to One Leeds HQ, as we'll be getting into all of your latest rumours around our wonderful club, Leeds United. Now, listen, before we start, everybody, do us an absolute solid. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing and commenting. As always, I'll read every single comment. We're going to be going live at 10 a.m. every single day throughout this January period. We're locking in everybody. So make sure you're interacting. We're going back to the old days with the rumour when it first begun. And we're going to be doing this live every single morning. It gives me a bit of motivation to get out of bed in the morning. And I enjoy it. Always used to love it. And we're going to get into it now. And the reason I want to do this live is because I want conversation from you guys. I want a little bit of discourse as well. I want agreement, debate on who we should be signing. And we're going to be getting into that today. So welcome all. Hope you're all doing really well this fine morning. Morning, Con. Nice new intro. Results went for us yesterday, but another opportunity missed. Yeah, mate. I mean, I'll tell you what, let's get on to yesterday's results before we get into today's news. So I think it was a good weekend for Leeds. I think, to be honest with you, it wasn't good probably in terms of us pulling away. We could be an absolute we could be stealing the lead right now, really, when we're looking at it, couldn't we? And I did a bit of a review when it came to the Championship sort of full-time show that we do every game week. And Sunderland, I thought, were good yesterday. I thought Sheffield United were good, as well in that game. It was a very 50-50 split. I think Sheffield United have got some problems going into this window. I think we're in a very advantageous position when it comes to us not really needing to. I think we've already got those partnerships, that synergy between certain personnel, and I think we've been able to cultivate that and galvanise that through the first half of the season. I'm looking at Jayden Bogle and Dan James as being a serious example there. Al Tanaka and Joe Rothwell, another example. I don't want Leeds to really go out there and just take the squad apart, in a sense, and bring in loads of bodies, which when you're looking at Sheffield United right now, in my opinion, they're probably going to have to do. They're going to have to bring in 5 bodies minimum, really, to secure that depth and really help with those injuries. So you're looking at Burnley, on the other hand, who I think sort of a bit of a conundrum at the minute. I don't think Burnley are the greatest side we've ever seen at Championship level, but once again, what have they conceded? Didn't concede again the other day. I know it's Stoke, but Stoke getting a win against Sunderland and then getting a draw at Burnley. Maybe that was a better win than we all expected. Maybe it was a very decent win. And maybe when you look at Derby County, who've got 2 back-to-back wins, 20 of their 27 points have come at home. Maybe that was also a really good win. And to beat those teams to 0 was a really, really good period for Leeds, in my opinion. 10 points out of 12. I have to say, lads and lasses, I'm really struggling to complain at that. You know, I've got, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, goodness me, we should have beaten Blackburn. I just think Blackburn are one of those teams. I think they're a good team as well. It has to be said, they're a good team on transition with Dolan, with Vyman. Cantwell was out, Travis was out, but they're a good team. Ahashi, like him a lot. Pressed Leeds at the back as well, but they defended very, very well. Weren't letting Leeds exploit any of the pockets at all. And the problem with us and what we face against these John Eustace sides is I feel like we're quite nervy to pull the trigger. We're quite nervy. Only against John Eustace sides, in my opinion, is it really prevalent. We're really, really tepid when it comes to forcing the action. When Leeds can play a through ball, they might take an additional touch. When we're in the attacking third and we can take a strike on goal, we'll maybe take an extra touch and go out wide. These are the key decisions that are going to win you matches against a team like Blackburn, and we didn't do that yesterday. I thought, in particular, post the goal, it was a real shame. I have to say, a real shame. Defensive vulnerability. Wober was completely out of position. That left side is going to be interesting this January, and we're going to get into that. But overall, I'm looking at the result, everyone, and I am thinking, I'm not too bothered about it. It's not harmed me too much, and you can probably tell that. I think Blackburn are just that team this season. I don't want to be playing in the playoffs, but a team like that, the tempo has to be better. We have to take more risks. I do think the manager got it wrong with Solomon, which I didn't think I'd be saying a month ago. I think James had to come off. And I think Ramazani in a game like that had to come on. However, I'm not just going to blame Daniel Farke, because I don't think it's overriding his fault. I think it's Leeds United's fault for not being able to defend a 1-0 lead, of which we have been able to defend. When we've won 1-0 up, it's 67 times now where we haven't lost, when we've taken the lead. Now, we didn't lose the other day. Of course we didn't. But to be pegged back, we've not seen Leeds United do that in a while. We've not seen that. I've not seen Leeds United sort of forsake a lead so easily. So that was disappointing to see. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at the overall picture of this weekend, it's been a good weekend for Leeds. We could have extended our lead. Burnley, I thought, was a banker against Stoke. Robin's coming in and doing a good job there for us. But on the back of that as well, you're seeing Sheffield United falter to a Sunderland side who are still absolutely right in it, by the way. So, yeah, interesting thoughts there. And Happy New Year to everybody who's still available, who's in the chat as well today, I should say. Okay, so let's get into your news this morning, shall we, everybody? So, I want to start on Junior Firpo, and I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. In fact, let's not start on Junior Firpo. Let's start on the injuries when it comes to Leeds. So Jayden was forced off with a dead leg, which was a little bit worrying. But Daniel Farke, in his press conference, said that it was just a dead leg after many, including myself, thinking that it might be a hamstring injury with how he was hobbling off. That is relief, and he's hoping that he's going to be back for Hull City in 48 hours. Now, Sam Byram came off ill, and they couldn't really diagnose what was up with Sam. But he came off. He didn't feel well at half-time. Obviously, he came off. Wober came off, and I thought, come on. I thought Leeds actually looked better, involved in the goal, involved in their goal, and then nearly winning it for Leeds right at the end. But I think Harrogate is massive, everyone. I think it's absolutely massive in terms of just getting to that game and being able to just reset, play Gilavoggi, play Darlow, give Joseph a full run out, maybe put Bamford up there as well, and just really rotate, but rotate efficiently, because Leeds should. I want the team to have now almost a 2-week break after the Hull City game. Let's recuperate, let's recover. But the funny thing is, with this Leeds side, when they go again, we've got enough depth normally to be able to recover, and we have got enough depth. But if if Bogle and maybe Byram are a bit tentative for this one, we've got to take into consideration that the depth options might not be as lavish as we normally have it. So that's kind of good news. But I can't wait for Harrogate now, everybody, just so we've got everybody at rest, and hopefully by that point you've seen Sheffield United falter again at Watford, and we've seen Burnley falter at Blackburn, and Leeds have won. But it's another massive opportunity. It feels very, very, to me, like that, like the 2 away games we've had, where we've had opportunities to really take our chances and get to the top point. So, and something else to note as well, everybody, when you're looking at our fixture list, I think it's really key to note that Leeds United are in a period right now where, beyond Sheffield United, which is the back end of February, Leeds' running is really good all the way till May. So for all of the people who are saying it's a tricky period, we have got Coventry, I think we've got West Brom, I think we've got Sunderland again, and Sheffield United all in a short space of time. However, post Sheffield United, it's a very, very good period for Leeds United. And you're looking at that top 4 now, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, okay. And, Blackburn as well in 5th. You look at the celebrations, everyone. Look at the celebrations when they got that point against us. I couldn't believe it. It was almost like they'd won the league. But fair play to them, coming back into it like they did. But it was Leeds teams coming to Leeds. It's a real scalp for them to get anything. I think that's a real compliment to the side. So keep getting your thoughts in the comment section below. Everybody will be reading them out, of course. Greetings, Connor, and all from the Gold Coast, Australia, marching on to Hull this weekend. Definitely, mate. Morning, Con. Nice newbie intro. I think I've got that rolling. Cheers, mate. Morning, Connor. Results went for us yesterday, but another opportunity missed to pull away. It's one way of looking at it, Nige. It is, mate, of course, but I think it is key to note that these are going to happen. These are going to happen. We weren't great yesterday, but Blackburn are a good team. They really are. But I'd be more worried if I was a Sheffield United fan, looking at that Sunderland loss and an LDL right now. So I think they're going to come back into it, Sheffield United. I think there's still an opportunity for Sheffield United, and a likelihood that they can win the league. They're not far behind Leeds at all. Burnley the same, Sunderland the same right now. But it was a big loss for them yesterday, I felt. And Burnley just kind of not really able to get that home form rocking and rolling again. Darius is a good festive period and a few tweaks required. Left back and that creative spark. Hi, Connor. Says Stephen, what a mistake yesterday by giving that goal away. Could have been 6 points ahead. We could have been, mate. We definitely could have been. Wober, far superior play to Byram. We look unbalanced with Byram on that left-hand side. I agree with you there, Scott. I think that's a really decent point. Okay, so let's get into your man Junior Firpo, everybody. I think that's going to be the first bit that we're going to touch on today in the rumour race. So the latest news: Junior Firpo transfer from Leeds United to Real Betis. Junior Firpo's long-term future at Leeds remains unresolved as he becomes eligible to sign a pre-contract agreement with an overseas club. His former side, Real Betis, is reportedly leading the chase for his signature. This development coincides with Leeds United's search for potential new signings at left back, suggesting a possible reshuffle in their defensive lineup. The interest from Real Betis indicates a strong possibility of Firpo returning to his former club as part of Leeds' broader strategic planning in the transfer market. So I think this is really interesting with Firpo. And I think we're all a bit divided with it because Junior has had a really good season at Leeds United. It has to be said, very beneficial for his career. I think he had to step up with the period that he's had at Leeds United, especially with Leeds in the Premier League, from being at the dizzy heights of Barcelona, Real Betis, being involved in European football. And then coming to Leeds United, it's been a real come down, in my opinion, and he's really struggled. I think he struggled in the Premier League. I think we've all got to be really, really honest with ourselves here. The step up is extremely hard. Look, let's put all the cards on the table. There's maybe 4 or 5 players, maybe even less, that you can say are going to seamlessly transition into the Premier League. We know that step up is horrific when it comes to what we're going to experience with some games. We just have to flat out say 17th is the target, which means if we do get up, by the way, but essentially means that Leeds United are going to take a few pastings. They are going to take a few pastings in that division. So you kind of want to go up with a bit of a long-term plan. Now, youth is obviously something that youthful exuberance is something you want to target, and a Premier League potential level as well, of which you can build on. And, best case scenario, you keep that player. Worst case scenario, you sell that player for a decent amount. So, yeah, I think they've got to be planning. I wouldn't be upset if Junior Firpo was to leave. I think Leeds have just got to really sort out this replacement. I think Dennis Serkin at Sunderland is a wonderful player. He would be my look in this period of time. Leeds have had a look at him before, from what we understand. And it's going to cost Leeds probably 10 to 15 million quid. But I don't want to focus on targets too much. I think we've got to focus on just how this is going to work and how Leeds are going to shape up after. Looking forward to that new left back point. I think one to look at in particular was probably Verba when he came on yesterday, and that's a classic example there of maybe. I understand that people are putting a lot of faith in Sam Byram. Sam Byram is never available, in my opinion, for long periods of time, and it's not even an opinion; it's factually correct, it's objective, and I think that's the problem. But I also think there's a problem, and I know you all love Sam. I understand that. I know Sam is a popular man at Leeds United. I completely get that, but I think what we've got to also frame in our mindset is the future. And I think someone like Dennis Serkin coming in, I think he would be part of a Premier League setup. I think he'd be a really lovely signing from Sunderland. So yeah, someone like that, the availability to step up, the ability, I should say, to step up, and Leeds putting that marker down. But I think Junior Firpo signing a pre-contractual agreement would be pretty obvious. I think that's going to happen. Why have Leeds not offered him a new contract? I think it's availability, dependability, but I also think Leeds are a little bit tentative about offering him a big deal at his age and potentially him being in the Premier League, of which he really struggled last time with his awareness, his defensive positioning, 1v1 defending. He was rash. And coming up, Leeds dominating the games like we're doing week in, week out at championship level, albeit maybe 1 or 2, is very different to coming up against Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Bournemouth, Brighton, etc., at that level. So I think that's something that they will be considering right now, and offering him a bumper deal, I don't think makes a lot of sense right now. So Leeds need to be planning for the future when it comes to Junior Firpo. So don't be completely stunned. Don't be completely stunned if he is to sign some sort of pre-contractual agreement with Betis, of which he had a very, very, very good spell with. Okay, so when we're going back onto the template here, Jack Harrison, let's move on to him pretty swiftly. So, yeah, I've put in the title a few issues with this guy. So his loan spell so far have yielded 4 goals and 3 assists in 48 appearances across all competitions, while he's without a direct goal involvement in 13 games this season. Everton's financial restrictions could make it difficult for them to pursue a permanent transfer, given manager Sean Dyche's future at the club. For me, this is going to be a little bit of a problem for Leeds. Obviously, Jack's, I believe, going to be 29 next year. it's Everton will probably the side that I was looking at and thinking, if Dyche is still there, which is a possibility, of course, but if Dyche is still there, when they go to the Bramley-Moore Stadium, are they going to try and make an impact in terms of maybe getting rid of Dyche and bringing someone else in, new stadium, new impact, new feel at the club? Jack's, obviously, transfer market value is about 11 million quid. He's on loan there. It's been his second loan. I think we might have a financial issue with this guy in terms of just being able to get him off the books. He's got a contract at least till 2028. We've just turned to, it's just 2025 now. That is a long contract. It really is. And I don't know how Leeds get around this, to be honest with you. In that you kind of want the stock to be high with these players. Look, you want the stock to be high. You want Jack Harrison to be doing X, Y, and Z. And you want our fan base to be like, look, we remember what he was like. Let's not get carried away and get him back and think, oh, he can be part of the squad and he's going to be X, Y, and Z, because we know what Jack Harrison's all about in terms of hot and cold Harrison, which we said for 5 years on this channel. And just not good enough, just average, and would appear in the big moments every now and again, but just wasn't consistent enough. Nowhere near consistent enough. Everton fans don't rate him whatsoever. Dyche seems to be the only one who does, and there's no real noise around him going to any other clubs. It feels like Jack Harrison's had that point of which in his career now where there might have been Aston Villa, Everton, Crystal Palace in for him, and that's kind of quelled now, and that's been quelled as well by the fact that his form has just gone out the window. So, yeah, I think there was maybe a little bit of, at the beginning when he moved to Everton, there was a little bit of curiosity. What could this guy be like in the Premier League? But I think now it's getting abundantly obvious with Jack that he's just nowhere near good enough. And I do wonder how Leeds are going to be able to move him on, how they're going to be able to manipulate that with a contract that is that big with Jack Harrison, and what we're going to be able to do with him, because he's going to be a bit of a hindrance in the Premier League in terms of wages. And look, he's not a Leeds player anymore. He wanted to go to Everton, and it just doesn't feel right, him being at Leeds right now, for me anyway. But I do wonder how Leeds are going to work around that. I really do. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, everybody. And some of you are watching watching it on the post, so shout out to you. Roland says, on their day, both Byram and Firpo are good, but going forward, spending money, unless the Prem quality is bringing in a loan. Verba wants away. Struggling with corners and free kicks, don't seem to offer a threat. James says, please, God, no Harrison. Bob says, morning, I just watch your mate Jimmy's Ramblers. They're seriously worried about injuries. They reckon 5 or 6 new signings. And it's relevant to Leeds, mate. Of course it's relevant to Leeds, because these are our direct competitors when it comes to promotion. But I tell you what, Sunderland aren't out of it now. And, with this period, with Sunderland having the injuries that they've got, Dan Ballard, they've had Watson out, they've had Mundell out, they've got Brown out, they've got Rigg out, they're just, I can't believe they're still there, Sunderland, with the greatest respect to them. So it's shout out to Regis Labrise, who's still got them in contention. I think 5th is cut off now in Borough on 40 points. I think Sunderland winning last night has done that. 7 points and goal difference is too much to recover. But yeah, we're all 4 of us are in a race right now. That we really are. So it's going to be an interesting one. Give him away for free, says Alex. Yeah, I don't think we can do that, mate. But yeah, I know what you mean. So yeah, something to keep an eye on when it comes to Jack, because I just wonder how this is going to work itself out. I really do. Okay. Nico Elvedi. Now, Nico Elvedi has been something that I've spoken about on the channel a couple of times, and Nico is of interest apparently to Leeds United. Leeds are confident that they can win the race to sign Borussia Mönchengladbach defender Nico Elvedi. The news outlet suggests that the Whites lead Wolves in the charge to acquire the 28-year-old who has previously worked with Daniel Farke at Gladbach and could depart the Bundesliga side after 10 years. Now, is this lazy? I feel it is. 10 million quid right now wouldn't make a lot of sense. Maybe a loan with an obligation signing for 10 million quid would work. What I loved was when Ampadu went into a back 3 yesterday, when we kind of had problems fullback wise. Elvedi has played in a back 3 before. But I just wonder how this would work. I wonder if Leeds were to be able to put 10 million quid down now in January, how that would work financially. I don't think that'll look favourably on PSR as well. Look, it's just not going to happen, but I think potentially a loan with an option to buy, maybe even an obligation to buy, to part ways with Nico Elvedi at Mönchengladbach, who is very popular there. But once again, it's another player of which we've spoken about previously. Daniel Farke has worked with him before. Daniel Farke has worked with Buendia. Daniel Farke has worked with McLean. Daniel Farke has worked with Sargent. Daniel Farke has worked with Aarons. He feels, and it does feel now with Davis been promoted to the recruitment coach, with Gret Steinson, with Jordan Miles moving on, it feels like Daniel Farke has a greater say in recruitment. Now, when you look at the long-term projection of the club right now, and this is a separate conversation, but the long-term projection of the club, will Daniel Farke be here in 3-4 years' time when maybe some of these players' contracts are lasting till, you know? Who knows? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. The likelihood is that it won't be here in 3 or 4 years' time, but with a big say on recruitment, which it does feel like it is right now with Farke, with the movement at the club and maybe being a manager-centric recruitment job. There are positives there and there are negatives. Farke going for some of his old boys is kind of a positive in a way, because it's almost like, well, he knows them. He knows what they're going to bring. He knows how it's going to benefit the side. But also, if Farke was to leave and Leeds parted ways with him, is it almost a sentiment buy? Maybe. I mean, that's maybe a little bit fleeting. Would a club do that? But there will be sentiment attached there. But will this player be almost a long-term option for Leeds United without Daniel Farke and without Daniel Farke's playing style? All these are really interesting when we're looking at the recruitment span of Leeds United, because it does seem to be heavily now Daniel Farke focus, especially when you see the players that were rumoured with, and we're going to get onto that in just a second as well with another little rumour. But Nico Elvedi, interesting. As I say, Wolves in a bit of a battle. With us as well for that one, but I just can't see that one getting done unless it's a loan to an obligation, which would make maybe a little bit more sense. Okay, so Omobamidele. Now, guys, I don't want you to freak out. I'm going to put something up there right now, and it was a conversation that they were having on ESPN the other night. Now, someone linked me this as well, and I thought, goodness me, let's hope that this isn't real. But it was essentially, there was an ESPN journalist suggesting that Nottingham Forest could do a little bit of an exchange deal here. Now, Nottingham Forest are requiring a defensive midfielder, and apparently Mariakis and the recruitment team at Forest are looking at someone who almost can be versatile in that defensive centre-back role as well. So, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? Let's flash it up now, shall we? Andrew Omobamidele, 2 things here. So Norwich, once again, we've just mentioned how Daniel Farke is very keen on some of his old boys. He's worked with Omobamidele, the Irish centre-back, for a couple of years at Norwich. As you can see there, he then moved on to Nottingham Forest for 12 million quid. Now, Leeds United have been linked with a move for Andrew Omobamidele in January, and ESPN were reporting the other night that there may be a little bit of bargaining with Forest, maybe looking at Ethan Ampadu. Now, if this were to happen, I think there would be genuine riots at Ellen Road. No, I don't think that would happen in a month of Sundays. I don't think you would ever get Leeds negotiating with Forest for potentially Andrew Omobamidele, who's unproven in maybe the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years. He's behind Willy Boly, he's behind Murillo, he's behind Milenkovic. He's not getting in at Forest right now. For them to offer us a cut price for Andrew Omobamidele, look, he's a good player, Omobamidele. I would fit him, but he'd be our 3rd centre-back. There is absolutely no way in a month of Sundays that I can see Leeds doing that. And if I'm to offer one club in terms of a certainty to go in for Omobamidele, it will be Sheffield United as that Harry Souttar replacement. That would make a lot of sense for them. I think the only movement, and I've mentioned this on the thumbnail, that we would go in for another centre-back, someone like, as we've mentioned with Nico, as we mentioned with Omobamidele, is if Wober was to leave and we lost depth there. But the thing is, with Andrew and with Nico, they're going to want minutes. So are they going to come to Leeds United to sit on the bench? They're not. It's not going to happen. Andrew Omobamidele at Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, who's sat behind 3 centre-backs now, is not going to come to Leeds United to sit behind 2 in the Championship. It just will not happen. So these are also little kind of key things that we have to bear in mind when we're looking at some of these players. Are they going to come in and just sit on the bench? It just will not happen. So, yeah, lots of conversations to be had there. But, yeah, Ethan Ampadu going to Nottingham Forest, I do not think that will be happening. And let's hope it doesn't. Roland says, another Bamford scenario with Jack Harrison. We need a goalkeeper, says Michael. Michael as well has said we need a powerful CF and a goal-scoring midfielder or number 10. It's simple. Mr. Anthony says we need rid of Farke. We don't want all of his baggage of the past. I think that's the interesting thing when it comes to recruitment, I would say. That's the interesting part, I guess, when it comes to Daniel Farke and obviously maybe this heightened level at recruitment level. not as in him literally getting that post, but him having an increased say. And I think the movement of those two individuals specifically means that maybe Farke will be working a little bit closer with Hammond. So, and obviously Davies, who got promoted, but yeah, the two going out was interesting, especially after Jordan Miles has spent 5 months at the club. You wonder if there was maybe a little bit of problems there. Who knows? And that's just me being obviously maybe a little bit suspicious, but who knows there. Cass says, any other 10s beside the Buendia link popped up at all, Connor? Cass, I'm looking at Enciso, mate. I'm looking at Julio and Enciso rumours every single day, seeing if there's something that comes up there. I would love Leeds to test the waters there. But I'm in agreement with a lot of you. I think a number 10 makes sense. I think we can deal without a number 9. I think Elan Meslier a move for him would be not a move. Well, yeah, a move for him technically, I guess. But even if you brought a younger player in who can push him, Leeds are looking. Apparently, we're nearly signing Robbie Cook from Perth Glory, who's got a lot of interest. 17 years of age. Apparently, there's agreement in place there. Robbie's not going to go straight into the first team and start competing with Elan Meslier, but he might be a long-term option. We've seen younger goalkeepers make it in this new wave of football. You know, the passing out from the back, the system-based goalkeepers now who seem to be so technically efficient. They seem to be getting chances younger. But yeah, a goalkeeper would be, obviously you guys know my number 1 pick, but a number 10 I think is really, really, really important as well. I think just sharing that load with Aronson. I think you saw Aronson yesterday struggle, and I think we almost needed someone to unlock and have that shot efficiency to be able to cause Blackburn troubles, like you saw when Todd Cantwell caused us a lot of troubles in that number 10 role, you know, and was getting behind our midfield. We need that player with the technical efficiency who's able to do things out of nothing to be able to compete with Aronson for that position. It's the only position and a goalkeeper of which we don't have competition, and that needs to drastically improve. Michael says, Connor, we didn't play well against the Lambs either. We should be walking this league with our squad. I think there's a lot to it, mate. I think there's a lot to that. I guess walking the league and being top of the league, you know, we can have two different conversations as to what they are. Leeds, should they be on? I mean, if we win yesterday, would you be happy with Daniel Farke? I think a lot of people would be if we'd have won that game yesterday. So, I mean, that will put Leeds on right now. Would it be 54 points with second place side in 49? So I guess would that be kind of like walking away with the league? I don't know. I think he's done an all right job at the minute. As I say, I'm very much not Daniel Farke out. You know, I never have been on this channel, but I think questioning him is healthy. And I think people who block questioning the manager, it's a very unhealthy environment. I think everybody has criticism in day-to-day work, don't they? So it's important that we do that. Andy Johnson says, let's go out and sign players who want to come and fight for a place, not players who demand game time and earn their place. I think that's a really good point, mate. That's a really, really solid point. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to leave you there this morning. As I said, we're going to be doing this every single day. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I will see you on the other side. We've got whole preview bits coming up as well. Please make sure you're slapping a like on the videos as well. Thank you so much for your continued support. You've all been brilliant. You really have been. If you're watching this on the replay, you can zip this back, as you know you can do. Get your comments in the section below. I'll be reading them throughout the day. We'll be back every single day throughout this January period from 10 o'clock onwards. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. Hope you enjoy the Room Mill. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.